Well, hello, I'm Miss Heard with Miss Heard Song Lyrics Podcast. We're in Season 5, Episode 233 with our Grease Miss Heard Song Lyric. The Miss Heard lyric is, I got shoes, they're made of plywood. And then the correct lyrics is, I got chills, they're multiplying. We're talking about You're the One That I Want. It's performed by Australian singer and actress Olivia Newton-John, or ONJ, and American singer and actor John Travolta in the 1978 film version of the musical Grease. So what are we hitting here? Like 54 years ago? Wow. So it was written and produced by John Farrar, and as I said, it released in 1978 as the second single from the Grease, the original soundtrack from the motion picture. Grease, the original soundtrack from the motion picture. Now, the song is one of the best-selling singles in history to date. It sold over 4 million copies in the United States and United Kingdom alone, with estimates of more than 50 million copies sold overall. So remember in the movie, this is almost the end. This is where Travolta's character, Danny Zuko, he's leader of the T-Birds, has recently lettered in cross-country running, and you see him now in a Letterman's sweater, in an effort to win his estranged girlfriend, Sandy Olsen, played by Olivia Newton-John. But he did not know while he's doing that, she's going through her own transformation, because she's also trying to see, like, maybe I'm a little too uptight with my proper look and etiquette. So she had some help from the other greaser gals, and they transformed her into what they call a greaser queen, like, whoa, really tight leather pants. Apparently, the story I heard that she had to be sewn into them because they were so tight, but they look so good on her. She's wearing her candies, slipping high heels back in the 70s, which is funny because they were really popular in the 70s, for her to win back Danny. So that's when the song is played. And of course, when you watch it on YouTube or anything, he is pleasantly shocked. And of course, turned on by her transformation as a greaser queen. And of course, she's responding saying, you got to shape up. Essentially, you got to treat her well and act the right way. And so the funny thing, watching this movie now as a 50-some-year-old adult, I was 6 when this came out. It's it just hit me like a pan over my head. These people do not look like high school age at all. They all look like they're in their 30s. But, no one ever questioned it or was ever contested by any of the fans or viewers. So it was suspend your reality. These people are high schoolers, even though they look like they're 30 or 40, almost, in some cases, 40. Okay, first of all, what is a greaser if you don't know? So greasers are what was called a youth subculture that came about in the 1950s, early 1960s, coming predominantly from the working class and lower class teenagers and young adults in the US and Canada. It's a subculture that remained really popular in the mid-1960s and was definitely embraced, as they say, by certain ethnic groups in urban areas, particularly Italian American and Hispanic Americans. The name also applied to members of this subculture because of their greased back hair. And when I did some research, some, to get that effect, either use pomade, hair cream, or in some cases just your old-fashioned petroleum jelly. I can imagine trying to get that out of your hair. So that's what a greaser is, if you didn't know that. So let's also talk about who John Clifford Farrar is, because he did a lot of the songwriting. So he was born on November 8th, 1946, still with us. He is an Australian music producer, songwriter, arranger, singer, guitarist. Very, very talented. He also was a former member of several rock and roll bands, including the Mustangs back in 1963 and 64, the Strangers in 1964 to 70, Marvin Welch and Farrar from 1970 to 73, and then the Shadows from 1973 to 1976. And then in 1980, he released his own solo self-titled album. But it's when he did a lot of his songwriting that really brought him to a lot of fame. So he was a songwriter and producer, worked a lot with Olivia Newton-John from 1971 to 1989, and wrote her U.S. #1 hit singles, Have You Ever Been Mellow? I actually have, somewhere around here, the 45 of that. It's from 1975. It's Have You Ever Been Mellow? And I love it because my real name, other than Miss Heard Song Lyric, is Melody. So I thought, oh, she's singing about me. All right. You're the One That I Want, the one we're talking about today, the duet with John Travolta from 1978. And then 1978, Hopelessly Devoted to You, as well as Magic in 1980. So a lot of #1 hits working with him and her together as a duo. He also produced the majority of her recording material during that time, including her #1 albums, one, If You Love Me, Let Me Know from 1974, Have You Ever Been Mellow from 1975, and Olivia's Greatest Hits Volume 2 from 1982. He was also co-producer of the soundtrack for the film Grease, so he is very talented. The interesting thing also about him is because of his writing the song for her for the film, he also helped her with the writing of it. It was Olivia Newton-John's first American #1 hit single with the song I Honestly Love You, which was awarded the Grammy Award for Record of the Year back in 1975. That's a beautiful song too, so look it up. You can download it, of course, anywhere, and then also find it on YouTube if you just want to hear her sing it and see her sing it. Then personally, in 1969, Farrar married an Australian singer by the name of Pat Carroll, who was also Olivia Newton-John's singing partner, so a lot of connections there. And then as a couple in July of 1970, they married and they relocated to the United Kingdom. And since late 1975, they resided in the United States. They are definitely a musically inclined family. So we know about John, we know about his wife, who is an Australian singer, Pat Carroll. They had 2 children, sons. Their parents of Sam Farrar, who is the bassist of Phantom Planet and Maroon 5, that I did not know. And then son Max Farrar, a composer and producer whose work includes songs with Louis Capaldi and the Scripps. So very, very talented family. So let's go back into the background of the song, You're the One That I Want. It was one of the 2 singles, along with Hopelessly Devoted to You, that Farrar wrote specifically for Olivia Newton-John's appearance in the film, because it was these 2 songs that were not originally in the original stage musical. Randall Kleiser, the film's director, was not really fond of the song because he felt that it did not mesh well with the rest of the original Warren Casey Jim Jacobs score. But I'm glad he relented because it's a song that we all love, right? The song originally, so it's a song that we all love. The song originally written at this point is the original musical that was supposed to be sung at this point of the movie called All Choked Up. So the song originally, Leon, sit down, quiet. The song, I love dogs. Okay. The song originally written at this point in the musical and in the movie was supposed to be the song All Choked Up. It was previously replaced as a song titled Kiss It. And it has the same theme, has the same style, and it's also written with kind of that Elvis Presley all shook up kind of vibe, but Sandy's a little bit more provocative in the original version of All Choked Up. Go to YouTube, you can find it. It's a little different. So I'm glad they went with You're the One They Want, because it really showed off both Olivia Newton-John's singing chops and Travolta. And then, like I said, All Choked Up was one of the 2 songs from the Jacobs Casey score that was removed completely from both the film soundtrack. And most, what they said, 21st century performances of the musical also include You're the One They Want instead of All Choked Up. So even the modern version of Grease musicals don't even do All Choked Up. Well, how did it do? Well, upon its release with the film and its status as a potential blockbuster worldwide, the single became a huge international hit. No surprise, reaching #1 in several countries. In the U.S., the single reached reached #1 on the Billboard Hot 100. And on July 18th was certified platinum for shipments exceeding 2 million copies. It was already gold by April 12th. That's how much it was selling. And again, this is back when you didn't download. You had to literally go to the record store and pick it up. And it also topped the UK singles chart for 9 weeks in the summer of 1978. Some months before the film had even been released in that country. So like the buzz was definitely on high. And then just recently in 2018, it's still the 5th best-selling single of all time in the United Kingdom, where it has sold 2 million copies. That's amazing. That's many years later. And in Australia, Miss Olivia Newton-John's hometown, the single spent 9 non-consecutive weeks at the top and became the best charting single of the year. As for the album itself, the album is called Grease. The original soundtrack from the motion picture is definitely very successful. It was originally released by RSO Records and then reissued by Polydor Records between 1984 and 1991. It sold over 30 million copies worldwide, making it one of the best-selling albums of all times. Also ranking among the biggest-selling soundtrack albums of all time. The song we're talking about today, the misheard, You're the One They Want, was a US and UK #1, like I said earlier, for both John Travolta and Olivia Newton-John. But the interesting thing about the soundtrack is, besides John Travolta and Olivia Newton-John, they only appear on 7 of the 24 song tracks. The album also featured songs by rock and roll revival group Sha Na Na with Bowser, as well as the hit song Grease. The singer and actress Stockard Channing sings only lead on 2 of the tracks. The 2 tracks remain her only significant contribution to recorded popular music to date. So just because of these 2 songs, as an actress, that's the only singing, I guess, like they said, that is of her recorded and big. So did not know that. And then a tune written by Barry Gibb of the Bee Gees was sung by Frankie Valli of the Four Seasons. That was an additional U.S. #1 from this album, but had no connection to the film. Is that interesting or what? So many interesting things about the song. It's not about shoes made of plywood. It's the chills they're multiplying as soon as he sees Sandy all dressed up in that really tight leather pants and top and looking like a greaser queen. I love it. And my 6-year-old self recalling that, I thought it was a great song. And I love it now at 50 some. So it has endured the test of time. If you have great suggestions like this misheard song lyric, just send it to any of our sites like Instagram, Facebook, X, formerly Twitter, or just send me an email at misheard, that's MISSHEARD songs @gmail.com. Till then, keep singing those songs wrong. Bye.